mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 1 of Amazon Prime Video's Fallout. So, even though I've never played the games, let me just get that out of the way right now. And side note, while I'm talking, you guys can use that time to get out all of your comparisons between the show and the game, because I don't want to fucking hear them. So you can get them out internally while I'm talking. But anyway, like I said, I never played the games, but I was really looking forward to this show, despite not really having much reason to. So in addition to never having played the games, aside from a handful of names, the cast and crew didn't jump off the page to me either. So the series is co-created by, Geneva Robertson-Dworet and Graham Wagner, neither of which have the most impressive IMDb page in the world. Aside from this show, Robertson-Dworet has only 2 other writing credits to her name, Captain Marvel and then the Tomb Raider that starred Alicia Vikander. That's it. That's her whole thing. Not the greatest pairing of things either, not terrible. But also not a lot to dissect. Wagner has more writing credits than Robertson-Dworet, but not substantially more, and not terribly impressive either. His biggest role was writing credits on 50 episodes of Portlandia. Other than that, he's got 2 episodes that he wrote for The Office and 3 for Silicon Valley, and that's it. Even the cast wasn't. It's not like it was a bad cast or anything like that. I'm not criticizing the cast or anything like that. It's just nothing, again, aside from Walton Goggins, nothing was particularly dazzling to me when I was looking at the cast. Goggins, though, who I absolutely love and will watch anything he's in, and he's the main reason that I watched this in the first place. He's the one that really drew me in, but otherwise, not a ton. Ella Purnell, she plays the lead role of Lucy. And while I have enjoyed her on Yellow Jackets, it's really the only thing that I feel like I know her from. And that's not really the kind of role where I'm just like, oh, Ella Purnell is in this? Hell yeah, count me in. It's not that great of a role. And then the other lead, Aaron Moulton, he plays Maximus. I feel like I've simultaneously never seen this guy before, and I've seen him 8 different times because he's 8 motherfuckers put together. If you took Jonathan Majors, Donald Glover, and Cuba Gooding Jr., you smashed them all into one person, it would be this guy. But despite that, in actuality though, he is virtually an unknown to me. There's no virtually, he was an unknown to me. I didn't know this guy from anything before I saw him on here. There's various other actors here that I know from other projects. Zach Cherry probably being the most prominent. Other people that I like. It's just, by and large, it's just the cast didn't jump off the page to me or jump off the screen, my IMDb screen. So why was I excited for this show? The trailer, honestly. In short, the trailer made me think that I was about to get another really creative swing for the fences, and you guys who have been here for a while know how much I like big creative swings. I'm seeing all sorts of shit in this trailer that makes me go, oh, that looks cool, or never seen anything like that before, or that looks fun. Holy shit, it's Walton Goggins with a skull face and no nose. So I entered into this with plenty of reasons for doubt, but also a completely open mind. And I was richly rewarded for that open mind. I was impressed by this show a lot. All of the actors were great. The characters were dope. It was fresh. It was fun. It was creative. I really and truly enjoyed my time with this show. Now, is it perfect? No, not by any means. There was some stuff that didn't work. By and large, I'm going to save that for the end of the video. But right now, I want to start by briefly going over what the show is about and then talk a little bit about what I liked about it. So, hey everybody, I just want to take a small break from this review to talk about the various other ways you can engage with me on other platforms. If you're so inclined, and I understand why you wouldn't, I am an acquired taste, but you can join the Patreon where you can get extra content like retro reviews where I review old shows and movies to see if they still hold up today, Mike's Musings where I talk about shows I'm watching that I don't cover on the channel, or Mike's VOD where you can commission me to watch a show which I will then review on the channel. And if you want to engage with me and chat with me more directly, I also implore you to join the Discord and follow the Facebook page. I set up channels in the Discord for all of us to discuss the shows I'm reviewing on the channel, and I also drop new videos in there, so this is the easiest platform for me to share to from my phone. The Facebook can be really fun because I sort of live comment on shows I'm watching, often while under the influence, I'm not gonna lie. And I'll also share news there, both about television and film, and about myself as well. So if you like my content, you want to be more engaged, you think I'm charming, or you simply want to show support, feel free to sign up for the Patreon or join the Discord or Facebook today. Links to all platforms are in every video description. Remember to share all my shit to your respective social media platforms. And now back to this review. In short, because I don't really want to spoil the show for anyone, this show is basically like a quirkier version of Silo. Hundreds of years after a nuclear event, and side note, said nuclear event is a great opening scene to the series. It's the very first scene. It's awesome. Hundreds of years after this nuclear event, you have people living underground in not silos, but vaults. It's the same thing for all intents and purposes, but they call vaults of the show. They're awaiting the opportunity to return to ground and repopulate, return above ground and repopulate. These are kind of like the more well-off people of society, or they're descendants of the more well-off people from society. So the show has this nice little class angle that it gets to work and toy around with a little bit regarding, like, ironically, the upper class being below ground and the lower class being above. And when a vault is raided and Lucy's father is taken, she decides that she's going to risk braving the wasteland above ground to find her father. Now, above ground, you have a group of people called the Brotherhood of Steel. They're on the hunt for someone who has escaped with something of value. I'm intentionally being vague and cagey on purpose. We meet Maximus, who he's a member of the Brotherhood, but he's kind of like a fairly inept one. He's like new, kind of like that new bumbling guy who fucks up a lot. Through a series of events, he ends up on the hunt for this same individual with this something of value, and that's how him and Lucy end up crossing paths, and they end up essentially on their separate quests together. The two quests end up intertwined, and that's pretty much the gist of the series. And then you have Walton Goggins, and his ghoul character gives you kind of like a similar feeling of excitement. Not again, just because I'm saying this name does not mean I'm saying that the performances are the same. I'm not saying that. So I know how people love to find meaning where there is none. His character gives you a similar feeling of excitement whenever he comes on screen, at least for me, to how I felt whenever Heath Ledger's Joker came on the screen in The Dark Knight. It's like you see him and you're like, something cool is gonna happen. This is gonna be fun. You just settle yourself in for a good time. Anytime Joker came on the screen, I knew something cool was gonna happen. That's how I felt with Goggins' character. Anytime he showed up, I was like, yes. And he always delivers. One of my all-time favorite actors. From The Shield to Sons of Anarchy to Justified to Righteous Gemstones to this, you know he's always gonna take great roles, creative roles. He played fucking a trans person in Sons of Anarchy, and you know he's gonna elevate those characters, and this is no different. He commands the screen every single time he's on it. He's like this foreboding menace that's always present, even when you don't see him and he's not around, and then he can just randomly pop up and fuck shit up. Just like in a video game, and they very much utilize him in this way, and it works perfectly. So, like I said at the top, I award big bonus points for creativity, and this show never stopped being strange. It seemed like every episode, Lucy and Maximus, like their adventure would get like weirder and stranger, but never like laughably so, where I didn't take it seriously. Side note, speaking of laughable, I didn't expect comedy on this show, and I found it kind of off-putting to start. I thought it wasn't that funny, and I thought it was... I don't know, it's one of those things where you're watching something and you're not expecting jokes, and then a joke happens, and you're just like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. But as the show continued, I got more comfortable with it, and it began to work on the occasions in which they used it, and it wasn't overused or anything like that. So be prepared for a little bit of comedy, but not to an off-putting degree. Anyway... As the show got stranger, it became more fun, but it also became more interesting. Even though Lucy was gone from the vaults, a mysterious plot line kind of continued within the vaults, involving like her brother and her mother and her father. And I thought that plot line was pretty compelling, and it was a fun. It was fun to watch that mystery below ground kind of unravel. It's a mystery that involves multiple vaults as well. So like it's pretty interesting, and I'm impressed by the fact that this show took its two main characters, one of which used to be below ground in these vaults, had the two main characters in a completely different place, and still this B plot was very compelling. Above ground, as the adventure became a little bit stranger, it became more fun too. The visuals were cool. You had like monsters. There was like cool tech devices that they had. The wasteland above ground was gorgeous to look at. Even the vaults below, it was still cool to see how they kind of like tried to make them look like outside. It was kind of different than what you saw in Silo. And the violence, oh yes, the sweet violence. I love some good over-the-top violence, and this show wasn't wrought with it, but when we got it, it was magnificent. It was delicious. There's a lot of interesting characters we meet along the way as well, with some pretty surprising actors showing up. Kyle MacLachlan stands out. He's Lucy's father. Like I said, he's kidnapped at the start of the series. But my favorite appearance on the show is probably Chris Parnell as one of the Vault Overseers. I think probably his most recent and well-known is arguable, but definitely most recent and maybe well-known when you combine the recency. He's the voice of Jerry on Rick and Morty, and his character on here is just great. And you add in, if you close your eyes and you hear Jerry, and the character's very similar to Jerry, it's really good. Now, it wasn't all great, the show. It falls short of The Last of Us in a way where, it lacks the deeply moving, emotional / human element that The Last of Us had. It doesn't lack emotion altogether, anything like that. It just never hit those heights, like the Bill and Frank episode, or the episode The Two Brothers, like on the Last of Us. It doesn't hit those heights emotion-wise, but it does other things great that The Last of Us doesn't even attempt to do. So it still balances. I also found the finale to be predictable, underwhelming at the beginning. Lots of exposition in the first half, but it picked up in the second half. They did a great job of setting up a potential second season, so I didn't dislike the finale or anything like that. I was just really excited going into the finale, and I found the first half of it to be a lot of predictable exposition, and I wasn't into that. But it's these are small criticisms in a show that I, by and large, really, really liked. Like, I found this show super fun, super creative, well worth my time. There have been a lot of disappointments so far this year for me, but this was a welcome surprise. Like, this wasn't on my radar coming into the year, and a place in my top 10 is almost assured for this one. So let me know what you thought in the comments, and until next time, peace.